guys. It's another Tuesday morning, and we're back with episode 37. We hope that you've all been well. You're all caught up with all the episodes so far. If you haven't, there's a lot to listen to.
There is.
So make sure you do that. And yeah, without much blah blah blah, straight into the news.
Oh, and if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, please do that.
Absolutely.
And as we asked the couple of episodes ago as well, if you haven't left us a rating anywhere where you listen to, please consider doing that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to hop into the news. Okay, so in the news, Ghana makes moves to end plastic pollution. So you can imagine my ears and eyes perked up quite a bit when I saw this headline. In October of 2019, Ghana formally joined GPAP, becoming actually the first African nation to do so. Now, GPAP is the Global Plastic Action Partnership, and it works under the World Economic Forum, and they've partnered with MESTI, which is the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, and as well as the UNDP to create a solid plan to deal with plastic pollution. Now, of course, if you've been/live in Accra, you know that, or Ghana, period, you know that plastic waste is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
Whether you go to the beach, anytime you look in any gutter, just
on the road,
all like common areas, is just
everywhere.
Like completely littered with garbage, plastic bottles, and things like that. So this is a much, much needed initiative. So the plan is to support public, private, and civil sectors to transition to a circular plastic economy. So what that means is the manufacture, use, and reuse of plastics, and to do so sustainably, and also to inject sustainability and reusability at every step of the plastic life cycle. So basically, they want to be able to manufacture sustainably, so using as little plastic as they can in packaging, so on and so forth. And then, of course, once it's used, make sure that it's done in a way that they can be collected and effectively recycled for reuse. So that's the basic plan there. And so they also said they were going to create a solution platform where stakeholders can exchange innovation, data, and solutions. And they instituted a plastic management policy in line with the development agenda. So Ghana has a new development agenda. It's 2018 to 2022. Some of you might remember the infamous Vision 2020 agenda, which I actually will be talking about on one of the two Pesewas episodes upcoming. So yeah. Now, of course, you know me, I'm quite the cynic. So I was like, all right, this is the bit we do well, the talking, going to the conferences, having the fancy buffet lunch afterwards at a nice hotel, just talk. What we're not so good at is the implementation, the praxis elements, okay? So I was so pleasantly surprised when on January 23rd of this year, I saw a poster, an ad, a campaign called the Sisao Subain campaign. So what that is a partnership between the government, so MESTI, and the National Plastic Environment, the GPAP, whatever, in Ghana base, then ECG and Ghana Water and Sewage, again, partnered with a private plastics recycling company called Sisao. And what that campaign is that you can use plastic waste to offset your utility bill.
I saw that.
You did?
I did. I saw that, yeah.
So how it works is you submit your collected plastic waste at a Sisao collection point, and it's weighed, and then you can convert the kilos to points, which then go towards your electricity bill, your water bill. You can get it in cash, you can get it in mobile money, or you can exchange the points for actual products. So they have quite a few products. So I really like that idea. So far, there are 3 collection points: Nungwa, Neoplan, and Ashaiman. So I was trying to have a look to see what the conversion, the kilos to conversion points was like. And what I could find is that 4 kilos of empty cans, or 20 kilos of plastic bottles gives you 10 cedis. So I'm just like, ooh, that's a hell of a lot of plastic. I mean,
yeah. For 10 cedis?
Yeah, because of course, empty bottles, plastic bottles are extremely light. Yeah. So to get 20 kilos worth, that's like, I don't know, you have to go with a little van or something just to get 10 cedis. Now, I suppose, again, listen, for somebody who doesn't have anything, 10 cedis is something. There's some people that are, homeless and jobless. And, they go and scavenge at the dumps, the dump sites and things like that anyway. So for those people, this might actually be something beneficial for them. But yeah, I feel like they need to come with the point system a bit to make it,
to revise it.
Because I, for a second there, I was like, hey, I could go, but I was like, 20 kilos for 10 Ghana cedis. Yes, it's a huge volume. And then I also noticed that you would have to accrue 2,500 points to get, for example, a plastic chair. But again, they're being a bit coy about, mapping the kilos to points or kilos to, but here they've given you kilos to 10 cedis. But I think it's a good start. I think it can be fine-tuned more, but definitely there's an enormous need for addressing single plastics use and recycling has to be something that is, becomes habit for us here, because you can't even go to the beach anymore. Like, you be in the water and some plastic bag will come and wrap around your ankle. It's vile. It's utterly disgusting. And of course, we know that the choked gutters are contributing to flooding and, poor health, like cholera, things like that, malaria, all of that. So, kudos to government. I hope it's not just lip service. They're trying to do sexy things because it's an election year and grab headlines. We need this. So I hope they have genuine interest in doing it. So.
And in addition to that, I just want to say, apart from the plastic, we also need to be looking at alternative ways of packaging, not just stick to the plastic. It's a great thing, but also look at alternative, because that's also important.
And like Eddie was saying, people have really come to understand the plastic bags. Like one kenke or one wache, they give you like 6 or 7. But it's like one goes in one, then they put it in.
I have to be telling them no.
I say it all the time. I don't need more than one bag.
For what?
Or even if you say, oh no, that's okay, I don't need a bag at all, maybe not food. They're like, oh no, you can't carry the thing in your hand like that. I was like, I'll put it in my handbag. It's fine. Like, I don't, we abuse, ever since they got cheap, maybe that's the thing, they're too cheap.
Cheap, yeah.
Because people are just using them at an alarming rate and then throwing them on the ground, so. Yep, that's why I'm in the news this week. Okay.
So in the news today, I have some news about Neoplan Ghana. Neoplan Ghana is supposedly shutting down. Neoplan Ghana has been in existence for about 46 years. They've built about 4,000 buses for state institutions, tertiary institutions, and most recently the Metro Mass Transit. Now, Neoplan Bus generally is a German company founded in 1935. And their third manufacturing plant was actually in Kumasi, so that was quite interesting.
So we used to manufacture vehicles here.
Yeah, looks like it. And, well, if by the time this episode airs, because I've heard some rumors about, they might not close anymore, but if nothing has changed, then Neoplan Ghana will actually shut down. Now, you would think that the fact that the government has a majority share in the company, they would be more vested in making sure that it doesn't shut down. It's quite, it's quite sad. And the fact is not just this current government, it's just government generally. Past governments haven't done much. The present government, well, maybe they might be able to do something. Now, the last time Neoplan got a contract was in 2002, and that ended in 2010 for 450 buses for the Metro Mass Transit. But again, it was a case of, the minority shareholder company bearing the brunt of all funding, government doing very, very little. Makes it sound like as though the minority shareholder were in the sole ownership, basically. And what really, really annoyed me was that when in 2016, the company said they wanted to buy additional shares so that they could finance their operations, they paid for the shares, paid $173,000 to the government for the shares, and they were not given the shares. We're not given the shares. The money was paid to the Divestiture Implementation Committee. The checks never got released. And the money hasn't been returned either. So that's really that's daylight robbery.
So they're helping to drive them out of business. And yet, so that's like their own, because it's government's company. So they're destroying their own company.
I don't know. And the current setup is, like I think it was between 55 and 65% share of government and a private group called the Fadu Group. Now, and it's not as if the minority shareholder group hasn't done anything to bring attention to this. They've complained that government needs to stop importing buses from China and Sweden and all that. I mean, healthy competition is great, but not at the detriment of your own company. That doesn't make any sense. And active production actually ceased in 2010. And since then, the company has been doing maintenance works on accident cars. It's just really, it's a really, really sad thing, right? And so in December of 2019, they made an application to solicit for 1D, 1F credit so that it can continue its operations. It's so shameful.
So that's the thing. You say you're committed to industrialization and stuff like that, but you're allowing the extant industries to just fall by the wayside.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we don't need new factories if we were maintaining and supporting the ones that already exist. What's the point of it then?
Yeah. And now the fact that the managing director of the company has now come out to say that they're going to close them by the 31st of January. And it's now that people are speaking up and saying, they're going to try to do something. Why does it have to get to the last stages before you do anything? Right? Where was this concern in the past 10 years? They haven't had anything to do in the past 10 years. All the governments that have been here...
It's a shock they've managed to hang on this long.
They went from, I think, about 1,000 workers to like 100 workers who haven't been paid their salaries. It's just so damn ridiculous. I don't know. Again, it doesn't have to get to the last point where somebody is struggling before government is now going to intervene. They're going to get some quick loan from somewhere, not do their due diligence. We find out that we are paying a billion% interest on the. It's just absolutely disgusting. Sorry. And it just makes me wonder what happened to GNTC, what happened to Kingsway, what happened to all those things. Why do we let things fall by the wayside? Why? But then the good thing is that this morning there was an update on the story that the government is trying to make sure that Neoplan doesn't get to close. So I think for the next 2 months they're trying to see what they can do to revive it. This is I don't know. It's just really upset me.
And it's not like we have no use for buses. We need buses. We use them every day. So how can anyway?
Yeah, so that's in the news. It doesn't have to. You don't have to build things and then you leave them to rot or leave them to almost fail before all these hospitals that are sitting there empty.
Tomato factories, factories,
sugar factories,
everything.
Why does
and then we say we're poor. We're not poor. We're just so wasteful and inefficient. It's
so annoying. It just really upset me, and I don't know why. It's just really, really upsetting.
Like I said, my catchphrase for 2019 is: the longer you live here, the more you realize the divide between where we should be and where we are. And it's the most painful thing ever.
Yeah, so that's my news. It hurts my heart, but it is what it is, I guess.
Let's see what happens as time goes. Okay. So on to, I guess, more uplifting things. We have Songs of the Week. And I have 2 songs this week. And the first one is by an artist called Gallant. And the song is called Hurt. Now, Gallant is a 28-year-old singer-songwriter from Maryland. His name is actually Christopher Gallant III. And after he graduated NYU in 2013, where he studied music, he signed to Warner, the Warner Brothers label. His first EP came out the following year in 2014 called Zebra. And he released his first album, Ology, in 2016 to critical acclaim. In fact, he got nominated for a Grammy that year. And I have that album. It's absolutely wonderful. And he's released his follow-up in 2019 called Sweet Insomnia. And Hurt is one of the tracks on that. And this album, his new album, Sweet Insomnia, is inspired by mid-90s R&B. And it's just... both his albums are actually amazing. They have a different vibe. The first one was more soul influence, like traditional soul music, and this one is more like R&B. Both are fantastic. He has a great voice, wonderfully talented young man. And so, yeah, that's my first song, nice and quick. Hurt by Gallant. And my second song is by Patoranking. Now I'm not gonna, and I think you'll really like.
I
this
know
song.
I will. I just know I will.
So a lot of you know Patoranking is. He's a Nigerian reggae dancehall artist. His name is Patrick Okori, and he's been doing his thing for quite a while to considerable success and acclaim. He released his first album in 2016, and his follow-up album came out in 2019, and it's called Wilmer. And Feelings is a song off of that album, and it has some very it has a lot of lovers rock elements to it, which yes, I absolutely adore the song. He performed it on the A Colors show. Now, if you're on YouTube and you don't know the A Colors show, please check it out. They feature not upcoming, but just I guess artists that they like, and it's kind of like a wonderful litmus test or way to, first of all, if you pop up on the A Color show, it means you're going somewhere typically. And secondly, they just have great taste, and they've showcased lots of really wonderful artists who you may or may not have discovered otherwise. Even though I knew Patoranking, I didn't know this song, and he performed on A Colors not too long ago. And that's where I discovered this song. Incidentally, if you've seen the video for Atajwa by Busum P. Young, the background, that is basically bitten straight off the A Color show. They always have a mic hanging and different background colors. So I'm like, can we not ever be authentic about anything? But anyway, that's just by the side. Check out A Colors. Check out NPR Tiny Desk as well. If you really love music, check them out as well. And yeah, so those are my two songs this week. Hurt by Gallant and Feelings by Patoranking.
Brilliant. I've got 3 songs for you this week. The first one is a song called Everything, and it's by Nice featuring Tiwaa Savage. Now, Nice is a Nigerian singer. He sings predominantly in Yoruba, but then he mixes it with English as well. And the song Everything is off of his 2011 album called Verses. His name is Abolore Adegbola Akande. And he also has a very recognizable, distinct voice. Like when you hear him, you know he's the one. And I think his most famous song has to be Kongwaso, I think.
Maybe, I guess, because that song was a huge...
Yeah, exactly. That's the one he's most famous for. Now, he used to be with a group called the Mysterious Boys, but then later went and did his own thing. Apparently, he was abandoned by his mom when he was 8 months old. Oh. I didn't know that. That was also quite interesting to see. Now, when I was looking for songs, I just happened to stumble upon this one, but then it took me back to my grad school days.
I know, it's a throwback.
So as soon as I just had to get up and start dancing in my room like a crazy person. So that's a good one. Tiwaa Savage on there. She's brilliant as well. So check that out. Everything from Nice featuring Tiwaa Savage. The second one is also from a Nigerian called Wizzboyy. Not Wizkid. You know Wizzboyy? He's been there for a bit now. Yeah. And the song is called Infinity. He's from Delta State, and I don't think he's that well known.
No,
I don't know. He's not that well known. His mother was a singer in the church, and she dragged him to choir rehearsals. So then he also started getting into the music. And he also happens to be a graduate of statistics from the University of Nigeria. So that's good for you. Yeah, that's quite interesting. He's got a beautiful voice. I love the song Infinity. Also takes me back to my grad school days. So that's a nice one, catchy tune.
He's not. You said so. He's been out. There's another one. There's a Wiz something. Is it a Wiz child or something? Honestly, there's
Wizzboyy.
There's some kid who's like 19.
No, he's not the one. This one is.
I think that one is Wiz child then or something. Listen, impact of Wiz kids impact.
Yeah, so that's Wizzboyy with Infinity. The third one I have is a song from a lady called Irma, and the song is called Venom of Angels.
Hey.
So Irma apparently is from Cameroon, but she lives in France, and she's one of France's big success stories. She was discovered by YouTube. She used to perform in her bedroom. Eventually, she was discovered, and she's also released a video for the song Venom of Angels. And I checked it out yesterday, and the visuals are it's pink, and she's lying in some pink fluid. At some point, the pink turns to blue, and then it turns back to pink. I just love it. It's super simple, but it's really, really effective. Now, her parents also were a good musical inspiration for her. The father on the bass, the mom in the church choir. And yeah, Venom of Angels is going to be on her album Dawn, which is supposed to come out sometime this year. So That's my 3 songs. Nice featuring Tiwaa Savage with Everything, Wizzboyy with Infinity, and Irma with Venom of Angels.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving into What the F. Now, another day, another round of internet foolishness. This time, people are dipping their testicles into food products.
I saw that.
So, according to a 2013 research, they confirmed that taste receptors, which are the proteins responsible for allowing you to be able to differentiate between sweet, sour, salty, and bitter on your tongue, are not just found on the tongue and in the mouth, but have also popped up or can also be found on other parts of your body, including your anus and your testicles. So instead of course, you know how we have this phenomenon where people only read the headline and then run with the misinformation or not understand what people are really trying. Okay. So if they had read the actual rest of the research, they'd have discovered that taste receptors are not the same as taste buds. And therefore just the presence of taste receptors doesn't necessarily mean
you're gonna taste it.
But no. So all they saw is taste receptors balls. So so TikTok, which is a social media platform, got hold of it, and then we had the challenge where people were dipping their nuts into soy sauce and swearing up and down that they could taste it. Now,
Liars.
I mean, even from a rudimentary, I wasn't a science student, but even from my basic science, I know that something like that should be a blind test. Obviously, if you pour your own soy sauce and of course, like it could even be a phantom sense. At that point, it's like you're going to
believe that. Yeah, you're actually.
I don't know. Is it called confirmation? It's not. Whatever it's called, like a reaction formation, whatever it's called, placebo effect or whatever it is. You want to believe. You think that. There's receptors there and you want to taste it. So you're going to be like, oh my God, I can taste it. I can tell it.
I'm dying.
I mean, if anything, it should be a blind test where you get somebody to and be like,
exactly.
do you
What
taste?
do you taste?
Yes, can you taste anything? What does it taste like? Anyway, so yeah, this week and for the last couple of weeks, people have been going around dipping their testicles in soy sauce. Soy sauce that could have been used to make delicious fried rice and things like that. And as usual, like I'm alarmed by the level of general stupidity. Like never has there been so much access to information, and yet never have we been dumber as a species. And it's a little stunning. At least people aren't sticking up their butts. I guess people's butts are healing from the whole sunning and burning themselves from sunning. So I guess it was time for this week is the poor testicle. Can you stop putting your body parts in things and in places where they need not be? Let's not. I can only imagine some African mom. She comes home and her soy sauce is missing. The slap you'll get. But anyway, so that's my little what the F this week silliness.
Giving soy sauce and nuts a whole other meaning. All right then. So my what the F today has got to do with some drama brewing in Lesotho. Now the 80-year-old Prime Minister has become a key suspect in the murder of his wife.
You lie. I haven't heard about this.
It's claimed that the Prime Minister Thomas Thabane and his current wife, ironically called Messiah, are wanted for the murder of his former wife. Now, listen, Mr. Thabane's former wife was killed in 2017, just 2 days before he was sworn in as a prime minister. She was returning home one day and then got ambushed and shot several times at close range and was left to die by the roadside. Now, in 2019, the police chief wrote the prime minister and told him that there had been some communication around the area where his wife died, and that number could be tracked to his cell phone. Yeah. So now an arrest was issued for the 42-year-old Messiah, but she seems to have absconded. So also the women were involved in a legal battle to find out who was going to be first lady, because apparently the divorce had been quite messy. I don't think it had been finalized. So the former wife called Lipolelo. I guess she still wanted to
technically
get.
Technically,
she's entitled. She's still entitled to, so long as she's not divorced from him, and she still wanted to reap all the benefits of being a first lady. So right. So she wanted to keep all those privileges while they were separated. And so, yeah, it would seem as though they both had motive. They killed the fact that she died just before he was sworn in as prime minister is very, very suspect. And so, yeah, they're on the case. It's really weird.
As a bedroom-trained legal expert, they're both guilty. Yes.
They are.
The evidence points to
them. Like,
no, really, that's way too many circumstantial things.
And
a
why
phone number
run
traced
away?
To you. There's motive. There's
It just doesn't make sense.
That's horrible, though. That is terrible.
It's just.
But she too. So first lady posts she wants to chop like that.
And the thing is that I hear there's a lot of controversy around it. She's interfering in politics, and she's doing fraudulent things, and so people don't really like her. So yeah, she's just doing too much. She's doing too much, and she's acting very, very guilty. Acting like she's guilty. So that's not guilty. So yeah, that's that.
But then you have to wonder: do you get some type of immunity once you get sworn into?
I don't know.
For example, in Ghana, if you know anybody that's out there that's actually a lawyer and not bedroom trained, such as myself, what happens if the president murders somebody? I don't think they have any type of immunity to that degree.
I wonder.
I'm sure there's a process that's different from the regular,
probably
the boys come and get you kind of thing. Anyway, let me know if you know. So
yeah, so that's it. It's a crazy story, and I guess I hear they've dubbed it Game of Thrones or something. I don't know why. I was joking about serious things. This is serious. This is serious.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my what the F today.
So, considering that my in the news this week was basically something to do with the environment, I thought I would do my 2 Pesewas this week on the tragedy of the commons. Now, the tragedy of the commons is it's an economic term, I guess, and basically it's what happens when many people share a limited resource. So, technically speaking, tragedy of the commons is the tendency for any resource that is rival, unowned, and hence non-excludable to be overused and under-maintained. So non-excludable means that we can't prevent anyone else from using it, right? So air, for example, is a non-excludable resource. A rival resource is one that the more one person takes, the less another has of it, right? So there's competition for the resource because it's a limited resource, so therefore it becomes rival. Okay. So the tragedy of the commons is very useful because it can explain everything from why there's no fish left in Ghana's waters to why certain animals are extinct. It can account for air pollution, water pollution. It can explain why the Amazon forest is decimated. You can even apply tragedy of the commons to a buffet table at an engagement. Somebody will come along and is like, technically speaking, I should take one fish and keep it moving. But if I do that, maybe the next time I come around, the fish will be finished. So I, personally, am going to eat 5 of the fish, knowing there's only 20 there, and that there's a whole line behind me, but hey. Okay, so this term was created by an economist called William Foster Lloyd in 1833 when he noticed that common grazing areas for sheep tended to be in much worse condition than privately owned ones, and he wondered why that was. But in a nutshell, people tend to prioritize their self-interest over the common good to the detriment of the whole group. And the more the one person benefits, the more everybody else suffers. And the losses become distributed amongst the group. And the tragic irony is that all the same, each person in the group is inclined to prioritize themselves. So if everybody is looking out for self, basically there's no one to look out for the group, and the whole group ends up suffering, right? So I think being aware of something and being aware of a habit and a trait and a tendency to do things is the first step to addressing that thing, right? So, for example, if everyone, like using the fish, everyone goes to fish, and that, I think we tried traditionally, because you can only fish on Tuesdays, right?
Or you can't fish on Tuesdays.
No, you can't fish on Tuesdays. And then you can't farm on Thursday or something. Anyway, I want to believe that some of these things were instituted, one, to give you a day of rest, but also, if you go far back enough, people have the knowledge that resources need to be given time to replenish.
Exactly.
But of course, in the modern era, time no day, right? So everybody just does everything, right? We're all going to dump our waste into, a river instead of, putting measures in place that will cost us money to filter the water. No. And then if everyone does that, then there's no more river, and it comes back to you. That's the thing that people don't realize. Your short-term selfishness will be your long-term sufferation, if you like, right? So, and again, I said the Amazon forest. People are like, I need farmland. There's tons of land here. So I'm just going to cut down these trees and farm, and I'll get money. What you don't realize is in the long term, you won't have air to breathe. And of course, if one or two people did that, we'd be fine, we'd manage. But the thing is, everybody
is going to try to do
like,
that.
And then once they see there's competition for the land, then they're like, hey, I better go and clear more, because if I don't look sharp, I only have this small plot. Then I won't be able to farm whatever I'm doing, or my cattle won't be able to. So then then there's a mad rush, and then no more forest, no more air. So anyway, this is a really short lesson today. It's just be aware of how you're contributing to the tragedy of the commons, and what you can do to, I guess, avert that inclination to look out for self first. And I guess that's it.
That's great. I like it. Okay, so my two pesos today. So usually when you own a business and you're trying to sell online particularly, you're trying to ramp up sales, right? You're trying to get people to get your products in. And you would assume that the people who are trying to sell stuff to you are transparent, right? Right. Unfortunately...
I hope this whole 2 pesos is on DM for prices.
No. It's not. But we'll get there. Unfortunately, some...
You see my face right now. I'm disgusted about that I didn't finish.
So unfortunately, some companies use tricks to get consumers to purchase their stuff. And so my 2 pesos today is on dark patterns. So a dark pattern is a user interface carefully crafted to trick users into doing things that they might not usually do. So they might end up buying insurance or signing up for something that you don't know. Now, the term dark pattern was coined in 2010 by Harry Bracknell, a London independent user experience designer with a PhD in cognitive science. He's also registered a website called darkpattern.org, and it is a pattern library with the goal of naming and shaming the culprits of dark patterns. And it highlights the worst examples of dark patterns. It's worth also noting that dark patterns are not mistakes, they're deliberate things that companies do. There are 12 dark patterns, and I'm going to try to run really quickly through them. The first one is bait and switch. So this is a pattern when a user is looking to take an action that results in a desired outcome, but instead it results in something unforeseen. So an example was the time when people were trying to upgrade to Windows 10. The little X or the little cross usually indicates that you're going to close the window. But in this case, you closed it and then they started upgrading the Windows 10. That's some shady stuff right there. The second one is disguised ads. So that's a pattern that displays ads on a page as though they were part of the website. So imagine you're going to a website to download something, and then there's a little ad there which also says download, and then you go click on that, and then it takes you somewhere else. Right?
To a virus.
Exactly, half of the time. The third one is false continuity. That is found in a large number of subscriptions. They say, They force you to enter your credit
Cancel
card details,
kind of thing.
even though you sign up, it's a free trial. But at some point, for some reason, they want you to enter your credit card details. And then when you want to opt out or cancel it, it becomes really difficult, really difficult. The fourth one is called friend spam. And it occurs when the product asks for the consumer's user's email or social media permissions under the pretense that it's coming from your friends. And LinkedIn had to pay a $13 million class action lawsuit because they did this.
Wow.
Yeah. Fifth one is hidden costs. So you're shopping online, you're putting all your things together. By the time you get to the basket, then you see, suddenly
like there's some $15 that came. You're like,
where did this come from? Yeah. The sixth one is misdirection. So users' attention is guided to a specific place so they won't notice that something else is happening. So they might trick you. It's really, really bad. The seventh one is price comparison presentation. So the retailer makes it hard for you to actually compare prices. Another example, LinkedIn. They tell you about these premium plans, but they don't really tell you how much it costs. So you can't really compare. The eighth is privacy suckering. And this is named after Mark Zuckerberg, actually, because it was first identified on Facebook. It tricks the user into publicly sharing information about an item, about something that they really wanted to. The ninth is the roach motel. So this is that makes it easy for the user to get into a situation, but makes it hard for them to actually get out of it. So you subscribe to a newsletter, you want to quit, and then you are just struggling to
from place to place.
It's happened to me before.
Where is it? Which is it that I tried recently, and it's like, can you not delete this account? They won't let you delete your account. It's just there. They're like, stop using it, but delete. Yeah.
So the 10th one is sneak into basket. So again, you're trying to purchase something. Before you know it, there's an item put into your basket, and then you have to sort of opt out of it. The 11th is trick questions. So you respond to a question which is seemingly straightforward, but then it turns out that the question is actually not straightforward. Do you want to opt out? It's a simple one, but do you not want to opt out? And then you start
like,
thinking,
is it yes or no? I don't know.
The 12th and the last one is confirm shaming. This is where the user is guilted into opting into something. So you may get a pop-up which says yes or no. Usually we say yes or no. So the yes is you subscribe or whatever, and the no is do you really want to live?
Exactly.
Your life is going to be miserable.
Yes,
and you feel sort of like bad, right?
Fine, I'll stick around. My God,
that's confirm shaming. So just to conclude, dark patterns may get you some temporary conversions as a business, but in the long run, you're
lose
just
all your
people.
Goodwill.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not really worth it. So don't do that. I find this topic really, really interesting.
It is interesting. And if you are, sort of social media or digital media inclined, you actually see these traits a lot. Yes. Now that you know about them, you'll probably be seeing them more and more. Or you noticed them already. You just didn't know they had names. So
the one I find really annoying is the free trial one. If it's free trial, why do you need my credit card details? Let me decide that.
That's the first time that they're trying to really charge you some funny, even $1, $2. They won't let you go without taking something out of your account.
And that's just wrong. Okay, so that's me.
All right, wonderful. Just to what I was saying about the DM for prices, in case you're, I've been doing I do a lot of Instagram boutique surfing and shopping, and it's been a challenge, let's just say. And the thing that annoys me the most, you say you're an online shop, you're advertising your wares, you're like, come and buy. You have everything else there except the price of the item. And when people ask, they're like, "Oh, kindly check your DM." I'm like, put it there so we see it. And why do we have to? I don't need to take an extra step to get put it in the description of the item. It's so annoying. Why is it a secret? Why is the price of if you are shy, that means it's overpriced or something. Put it there so we see. So if I see DM I'm skipping to the next boutique. You're not serious.
And at the end of the day, you have a market for everyone. If your price is too high, there might be somebody who's interested in those kind of prices.
Because some people do think the more expensive, the better quality or whatever it is.
Put it there.
Put it there. DM for high prices. Anyways.
Right.
That's it.
That's it for today.
Yeah, take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.